we keep saying, well, here's a video and here's how you discount it and who said what and why it's not, a UFO or aliens or whatever. But then at the same time that NASA is saying, this isn't right and that's not right, and we can prove that this is one thing and that this is just simply a passenger jet. At the same time, I got this other video, and this is the 4-hour NASA meeting or conference, whatever you want to call it. And then they do this, and this is what keeps me interested in this. So they've explained away a lot of what the public has seen and had questions about.
Yeah.
But then NASA goes, well, we see these orbs, and here is the orb. See that ball move through there?
Yep.
Now the camera's going to go to try to track that. It's going to catch up with it. There it is again. And then they finally get it in the center.
Yeah.
And then, of course, on the left is that image zoomed in and freeze framed.
Yeah.
So you can see it moving through this space. And frankly, they came out with this video. I'm a little lost for words. They came out with this video and said, okay, we explained away everything else, but we see these all the time. This is not the only one that they've caught. It's the only one that they've showed us.
Right.
But they said that they see these all the time, and that on top of that, they don't know what they are.
Yeah.
So
what is it, like a weather balloon or something?
well, they don't know what they are. So now the question becomes, from NASA's standpoint, is it something to do with the sensors that they use to pick this up? This, in this case, the sensor would be the camera.
Yeah.
But it also could be included in some type of pod or array or something. We don't know. It looks like it's taken from some type of aerial aircraft, but I don't honestly know if it's taken from like a satellite or what. They didn't say that. Well, or did they? Did they say it was taken from an aircraft? Yeah, now I'm not seeing it. Oh, they said an MQ-9 observed apparent spherical UAP via electro-optical sensors. What all that means, what an MQ-9 is, I'm not sure. I can look that up. But my point is that could this be an artifact of whatever that sensor is?
Yeah. Yeah, very well could be. It's interesting that it kind of came out of nowhere, that they haven't seen anything like that, but it could just be something with the camera or whatever, was trying to track that. Almost like if it was like a reflection of something.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what an MQ-9 is, but all I'm getting is carbon monoxide sensors, so I'm not sure what that is. But there's a lot of like things that other people have posted online where tricks where you can just take a camera and record yourself with like a light source beside you and then start to move, so then the light source moves behind you and then it's behind the camera, and as you spin around, light gets inside the camera and creates all types of artifacts and shadows and basically you're seeing part of the inside of the camera is what's happening at a certain point. So could it be any of those things? I don't know. Could it be some type of atmospheric thing that we aren't familiar with? I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting too.
Yeah, maybe it's just something like the sheet lightning that we just don't know about.
Yeah. Yeah, or something just something that's natural that we just haven't thought of. Like the idea that it could be a shadow is like possibly maybe like the shadow of, I don't know, something else, like a bird or I don't know, something, and like maybe the image is just distorted, but it's just a shadow of something else.
And maybe you can look this up, but I isn't there like hundreds of thousands of drones now in the United States?
Oh,
I know that online I've seen not only people purchase like off the shelf ones, and there's all different types, but beyond that, there's a lot of people that make their own drones now.
yeah.
And you can make them look like just about anything. And then on top of that, it could be a technology from somebody other than us that we're not familiar with. How do we even know that that thing's like a solid thing? What if it's a hologram or
Right.
something?
Right.
I don't know. I honestly don't know how a lot of that works. So I couldn't say for sure if it is or it isn't. And since I don't know what an MQ9 sensor is,
Yeah.
I don't know how that thing gets an image.
Yeah.
Did you see how many drones are like in the United States?
Yep. So,
It's got to be hundreds of thousands, right?
yes. Yeah. Yeah. 516,000 units.
Just in the United
Yeah.
States.
Just in the United
Yeah.
States.
So I think that image was taken in the Middle East. But what the point I'm trying to prove here is it could be anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean aliens or interdimensional beings. But at the same time, not knowing means it could be.
Yeah.
The chances are low.
Yeah.
But the fact that NASA was like, let me disprove all these other things. And then they said, hey, you want to see something that we don't know what it is yet? And we see them all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, it's a setup. They're looking for somebody to come forward to admit to flying something illegally, like flying a drone.
It could be anything. But the fact that an entire panel of people with their doctorates with different disciplines are now all having a conversation about it
Yeah.
is interesting. And on top of it, NASA said, if you guys see something and there's always something in a certain location, let us know. They have tons of sensors and aircraft and spacecraft and satellites. They have access to all kinds of things. And if they put all of their resources on one location to try to capture something, to figure out what's going on, we would gather so much data.
Yeah.
But now then somebody in the audience was like, well, why don't you just turn it on and look around the United States? And he said, well, it's very simple. Like if you said, well, there's always UFOs over in my neighbor's backyard, and then NASA pointed all their instruments at your neighbor's backyard, that's illegal.
Yeah.
That's spying. We're not supposed to let the government, even though they do,
Yeah.
and we all know it, spy on you.
Yeah.
I think that's, even though I would think a lot of other government spying is maybe a little over the line, that is way over the line. I mean, just imagine if like NASA took all of their Earth imaging things and just pointed it at you, and you had like, 50 super high res cameras documenting every move that your yard makes.
Yeah.
So then the other question was by another researcher. They said, well, if we don't know what we're looking for and it's unexplained, how then do we look for it? That's impossible. And another researcher or scientist stood up and said, no, that's actually not that's actually not impossible. It is possible because, frankly, if we were just to put all of the data, let's say, into an AI and say, here's all the things we're capturing right now. I want you to pour through it. And then give the AI like access to like the internet and say, these are the things that we already know about. Okay, so I want you as an AI to go through all of the data that we're collecting and just rule out everything that we know. Everything that is an easily definable thing. And then show me what's left over. So that would be a way that it could come back and say, well, we went from 100 trillion, points of collection, and these 100 we should look at and see. Now that's a more manageable thing,
Yeah, that's interesting. And you know what else, backing up a little bit, is interesting too, is that like about like if the government's like stopping themselves from like spying on people if there's some, if there's an indication that like, hey, you should look in this area because there's always aliens over here. Because they could technically do that and not really have to like divulge, information on it. Not really have to say, oh yeah, we monitored that home for 3 days to try to capture some evidence. Like,
wait, what do you mean?
because you were saying that it's technically not allowed for them to spy on people, to spy on us. But like, do they have to say that? Do they have to give that information up?
Well, I think because it's NASA, they do. If it's the intelligence organization that we have or organizations we have, I think that they're supposed to, unless there's some defense reason that they don't want to. But I think the problem is that they just do it and then they keep their mouth shut about it.
Yeah.
And then unless they've got a leak, then no one's ever going to know.
Yeah.
Which is how we know about things because of leaks. Whistleblowers are like, do you know that most phone conversations are recorded and blah, blah, blah?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, it doesn't surprise me and I don't like it. But I don't think you can ask NASA to do that because, NASA, the information that they gather belongs to the citizens of the United States. But beyond that, almost kind of to the world. Like when they make scientific breakthroughs, they're like, look what we did.
Yeah.
And we proved that this works.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of because that's how scientists work. They prove something and then they tell all their peers and then their peers can try to tear it down or build it up,
Right.
Oh, we're getting the same data or you know what? You made a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I think anything that comes out of NASA would be very interesting.
Okay.
But it just caught me off guard that they were like,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
this is so easily disproved. But this is something we haven't figured it out yet. And I'm like, but you're NASA.
Yeah.